First of all, though, I mean, getting to know you a bit, how did your journey into acting start? Yeah, what's your background, and yeah, how did it all start for you getting into
Yeah,
acting?
I actually always really wanted to be an actor. I grew up in Zimbabwe in Africa, and
Okay.
my parents did like little community theater. Um, and then we immigrated to Australia when I was 16, and
Mm,
so I started doing plays and stuff out of school. But I always knew I wanted to go straight to drama school, so I went straight to drama school after school,
mm,
after high school, we call it. It's very confusing here in the US. I have three words for everything because I've been on three different continents for
okay.
quite a long time each.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I went to acting school when I was 18. Um, and yeah, that's how I graduated when I was 21 and been doing it ever since, with
Wow.
all the ups and downs and had random jobs in the beginning. Um,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, how do you feel about the work now? Are you happy with it now and the outcome of, where
I
you've got
am
to?
actually,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's funny because I never really realized that, no matter how successful you are as an actor, your job always ends.
Mm.
Even if it's a long running TV show, eventually it does come to an end, which is just really frustrating because it's
Yeah.
you sort of every time you feel like you're starting again, but you're not really.
Mm.
And I've just been super lucky, touch wood, that something always has come up
Yeah.
just before I, been plunged
Yeah.
into darkness. So
Yeah, because
yeah,
talking of long TV shows, you were in The Flash, weren't you? For quite a lot of episodes. Was it about 33 episodes or something
yeah, I did that
thereabouts?
over a period
Yeah.
of about 8 years. Yeah,
Yeah. How did you feel about that ending? Because that was quite a recurring role, wasn't it? It was quite, it was quite
yeah,
a big
it was
opportunity.
really great. I honestly loved the ending. I thought they really harnessed and used every morsel that they could of the existing emotions and everything that was set up, um, you know, very early on to kind of bookend the whole thing.
Mm,
I was really happy to come and kind
okay.
of get closure with everything personally
Yeah.
and professionally. It was really cool.
Wow. So, I mean, so you've obviously done a lot of work on your own. You're related to Hugh Grant as well. Did that sort of help with the background, being a cousin, or was it your own
Unfortunately,
hard work?
he has no idea who I am.
Okay. Okay.
So it's my life's goal one day for someone to come up to him and say, "Do you know that you're Rick cousin? Rick Cosnett is your cousin."
Okay.
But it's going to take a very long time to get more famous than him. So
I'm
we'll
sure you're
see.
very well famous. I mean, you've done a
But
lot of great stuff.
yeah, he's actually my third cousin, so it's
Okay.
not like that close. Yeah.
Mm. How did you find that out though? Like, being
Oh,
related
we
to him.
always knew, like, since I was little, he before he was famous, he had a tiny little picture. I think it was in Time magazine.
Mm.
Anyway, and that was all. And we were telling all our friends in Zimbabwe that our cousin was in a magazine, and people couldn't believe that
Oh,
we
wow.
knew someone who was in a magazine.
Mm.
That's how. I mean, we grew up in the bush, in the middle of on a tobacco farm, in outside a small town.
Mm.
So when Four Weddings and a Funeral, which I think was a flop at first, and then it just took off at a film festival, and it became one of the biggest things in the world, and he became such a big star, and
Mm.
so we were like super excited that it was our cousin, but he doesn't know us.
Mm. Okay. Are many
Yeah.
of your other family members like actors in the industry, or is it just mainly you? And
No, my parents, like my dad, like played the piano and did amateur theater, but
mm.
he was a farmer and a businessman.
Mm.
My mum, an ICU nurse. No, I think my great great grandfather was like head of the Royal School of Music. So there was some artistic things on both sides of the family, but
Mm.
no one who'd ever been an actor before. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Riding solo then.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have really forged. My sister said that to me, my oldest, the other day.
Mm.
It's like, wow, we really did all of this like on your own, and I feel. I mean, obviously, I didn't. I had so many people helping me, but for some reason, yeah, I was cursed and blessed with the spirit of wanting to be a good actor
Yeah,
my whole life, and it
yeah,
really is a lifelong love of mine. I just really love it so much. I
yeah,
and I all I want to do is be a good try and be good. So
yeah.
I'm still trying.
Did
Yeah.
your parents support your career choice as well for
Yeah,
acting?
they were amazing. They
Yeah.
really were
Oh,
incredible.
that's good.
Obviously, they were a little trepidatious. Is that the right word?
Mm,
When I was deciding, and I was a teenager, which I would be as well if I was a parent. My
mm,
dad wanted to be a lawyer really badly, and it wouldn't have been a bad choice for me either.
mm,
So a lot more secure, but
yeah,
just really not in this lifetime.
yeah.
But who knows? Yeah.
Well, okay. So moving on to the Doom subject and the video game and how did you hear about the role for Doom? Was it audition or was you approached directly by the
Yeah, I
company?
auditioned for it.
Okay.
I auditioned for it. They were looking, I think, for a while, they wanted something that was a little bit more filmic, a little bit more real and grounded to this iteration of Doom. And yeah, so I sent my audition in very late, actually.
Okay.
I looked back on the emails because I was trying to find the spelling of my character's name.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, so that's how it happened, and it was such an amazing experience. Honestly, Hugo and the team there, and
yeah.
Margaret Tang, who's the casting director, they were just so wonderful to me. And they knew exactly what they wanted. Hugo had this in his mind for a very long time.
Mm.
Um, and
Was he the director or the producer?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
he's the creator,
Mm,
and so he was him and a few other people, were steering me
mm.
as to exactly what they wanted.
Wow.
Um, and it was just so exciting. It was so wonderful because I also felt so capable, in a
Mm,
way, um, because over time, if, as an actor, your skills do sharpen. Um, thank goodness. And I do feel like over the last few years, especially, um, my craft has really risen to the occasion, which has been really fun experience.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, they had me in there. I mean, I did two sessions of about 4 hours each, and
Wow.
I was completely drenched. My shirt was completely wet with sweat. I was crying. I was like,
Wow.
in character.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really was just like doing it, you know, just having the best time.
Mm.
Yeah.
It sounds physically demanding, though, the role that you.
Yeah, I mean, it was. That was how I got it out. That's how
Mm.
I express myself and yeah, stuff. So I'm not, you know, you know, sometimes I was, I guess not as crisp as a
Mm.
seasoned professional in the voiceover booth, because I've done limited voiceovers. I'm mostly an actor, so
Yeah. Yeah.
there was a bit of too much,
Yeah. I
too
mean,
much
yeah.
banging the microphone, and
Yeah.
um, yeah,
I bet. I
to
bet it
drink.
must.
She reminded me to drink water because sometimes you get that thing in your mouth.
Mm. I bet it must feel like quite a big job though, like, to sort of get into voiceover and voice work. I mean, it's quite a big role to be given for it to sort of be new to you. Do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that said, like I've had so much voice training that I
Yeah.
am probably like also
Yeah, you're ready.
ahead
Yeah.
of a lot of people as well. So um, I think the the thing with me is more accurate description is that the way I was taught was very organic. The drama
Mm,
school I went to, um, and so you're trying to do everything on impulse. You're really trying to be as real and unexpected as possible. So
mm.
sometimes that can get a bit messy, um, but it sort of comes with the territory. It's good to have both.
Yeah, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, for the audition process itself, like, did you have to Let me start again. For the audition process itself, did you have to do anything challenging for the audition inside of it, or was it mainly the booth, like you say? Um,
No, I actually I do a lot of voiceover auditions,
yeah.
and you can do them wherever you want. I've got a microphone that connects to my phone,
Mm,
and I just did it at home. It was just one page of Azrak's lines,
yeah.
um, and yeah, they wanted something like Alan Rickman from Die Hard, something a little bit more filmic, and
Yeah.
I know that world really well, and I think it was just a really good character for me.
Wow. So it almost sounds like you're a fan of the franchise before then for Doom. Like, was you a fan of the
I
gaming?
actually,
Yeah.
I obviously knew it. I grew up
Yeah.
in the 80s and the 90s when I was a teenager in the 90s. So
Mm,
I knew it. I didn't know it very well though. No, I
mm.
just knew um, I knew what they were going for in terms of the tone and the character, like 100%. It really excited me. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. So with the preparation side of it though as well, what did you sort of do to be ready for the Doom universe itself? Yeah.
Well, I think for me, it was mostly the story, um, the setting, and the character. Um, so, you know, obviously, I just do a full warm up. You make sure that you're super ready and that your voice is in the same place that it was when in the audition in when I first recorded.
Yeah.
Because we did another session after the fact. Then I also recorded something else afterwards just to make sure that it's super consistent. Um, but it's hard to explain in words. But for me, it was more the emotion of, being this character, being the Prince of Hell, being Azrak, feeling all of his anger and anguish and pain and also vulnerability. He was also very sad, um, and in a way, those real emotions that we have when we get challenged, when we get hurt. Um, and he's got such a huge ego, and he wants so badly to be more powerful than the Slayer. He's so, unfortunately, he is so bothered by the
Mm,
Slayer, right? He doesn't want to be, but that's also his weakness, is that the Slayer, is unfortunately super grounded and really, that's his power in a way. And Azrak is also, is a good match for him, I feel like, in this Doom. Because in this Doom, he's not just your typical bad guy that gets thrown so much. He's a lot smarter. He's very smart,
yeah.
so sharp and so cunning and so still, um, that he's able to wait and strategize. And he's also royalty,
Hmm.
so he comes from this incredible bloodline, in hell. So he's got this kind of crazy DNA. He's almost like this
A very scary one.
accumulation,
Yeah.
yeah, of all the scary things. And it's so much more scary when someone is calm,
Mm,
um, because, they're able to just to be so much more kind of violent.
mm,
So yeah, for me, it was about my imagination and my connection to what the emotions around. I think it's him versus the Slayer really, and the strategies, because I am a very competitive person. I used to play tennis a lot, like for my state and stuff, and it's all of those mind games that he's playing, and he
mm,
really, really, really wants to win so badly, and he's
yeah.
so awfully diabolically evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
super fun.
Where do you think he obtained his like dark emotions from? Do you think? Do you think he's just always had them, or do you think it came from somewhere? Like down the line.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's very, underneath it all, like almost all of us. There's a part of him that is insecure, and feels like, well, you know, can I rule? Can I rule hell? Am I good enough for this, this position that I've been given,
Mm,
basically? Um, and so a lot of it comes from that is generated through that,
mm,
because we try and compensate all the time. So he's doing that a lot of the time. But he's, being in hell too, he's been hurt a lot because that's really what hell is.
mm,
It's kind of constant trauma, constant torture, all the bad, negative emotions, the negative things that we say to ourselves. People say that, heaven and hell is really a state of mind on earth.
mm.
And that's sort of where it originates from. And you can
Okay.
live in either depending on what you choose. On moment to moment, we choose to live in a hell or live in heaven, depending on the way that we think. And so
Mm,
he has, he thinks in that negative way, that evil emotions. It is really the age old thing of good versus evil.
yeah.
So that really takes a toll, and that's the mindset he's in. Yeah.
Do you think he could ever find his way back to being good, or do you think he's too deep into it now?
No, I think there's always space to evolve. I don't want to give away anything in the game, but especially with a character like this and a world like this where they've created such three-dimensional um, characters in the world. Everyone has different sides to them, and
Mm,
Azrak definitely has those sides too. You can tell, hopefully, in his voice and the
yeah.
way he is, that there is, a vulnerable child inside of him as well, and um, a vulnerable person that he is
Mm,
protecting, and um, it's quite
yeah.
delicious like that, I feel.
Okay. Who would you say Azrak was before the fall of the kingdom, though? Who would you say he was before all this happened for him?
That's a very good question. I mean, I think, you know, before all of this, I think he was just waiting in the wings, hiding in the shadows, um, almost like a hero's journey, but the opposite.
Mm,
Waiting for biding his time, training for this, knowing that something was coming, but not knowing exactly what that was, and also being, trained and nurtured by the other powers in hell,
yeah.
to hopefully, be the ultimate evil who could, eventually destroy the Slayer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, mentioned quite a lot, but was Azrak ever, loyal to the throne, or was his ambition always darker?
That's a good question too. Um, I think his ambition has always, in his core, been a lot darker, because it's very selfish at the end of the day. And that's what the essence of hell is. Hell is about looking only at yourself and being all about yourself. That there's that story about a table in heaven where everyone, um, they have, that's right, they have spoons as hands, something like this. And
Mm,
in heaven, they feed each other. And in hell, they're just trying to feed themselves, but they have no elbows or something, and they just can't get the food into their mouth. So they constantly um, in this state of craziness.
yeah.
So yeah, that's
Okay.
my take on it.
Personally, I don't know too much about the hell side of life. I'm more into the paradise side of it all.
That's
Yeah,
good, Lloyd.
no, yeah. I try. No, I try to be. um,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, where do you think he was last seen before the sky split open? Where do you think Azrak was last seen?
I think before the sky split open, Azrak was he's been waiting and watching this whole time.
Mm,
Um, and he's been conspiring. He's really, really smart, and very, very meticulous, um, and very strategical. So he would have been waiting with bated breath. He's waited his whole life for this moment. He's waited his whole life to destroy the Slayer, which is also his greatest vulnerability because he cares so deeply,
Mm,
even though he and he doesn't want to, and everyone, he's really jealous of the Slayer, um, because he just gets the adulation, and um, he gets the attention, without even trying.
mm, yeah.
But Azrak tries to stay calm because he knows that if he gets agitated, it's going to work against him.
Yeah, you can see the Slayer is really pushing Azrak, can't you? Um, in a way.
Absolutely, yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's a great dynamic.
yeah. No, of course. Did the Slayer like ever cross paths with Azrak in the old wars? Do you think?
I mean, that's a good question. I um I think so, for sure. Um I think he's always been there in the shadows to me. Um to me, there were probably times early on. Um that's more a question for Hugo, but I definitely think that
Yeah, yeah.
the Slayer has come across him before, and we just didn't know um, exactly where he was hiding.
Mm. What would you change about Prince Azrak if you could?
What would I change about Prince Ahzrak if I could? Um, Nothing. I think. Um, I think he's as evil as evil as possible,
Mm.
and that's how he should be because he needs to be the ultimate match for the Slayer.
Yeah.
And this is the Slayer actually meaning something that he probably can't defeat.
Mm. Okay. So changing subject a bit, really. I mean, there was a lot of other characters in the game. Who else would you portray if you could, as an actor in the game? Like, if you could choose a character that you'd want to be, would you stay as Prince Azrak, or would you like the opportunity to be someone else?
That's a good question. I know honestly, I love Azrak so much that I would I wouldn't change anything.
Mm, okay.
Yeah.
And going back to more the audition side of the conversation, did you do much sort of physical training for, filming for the game at all as well?
No, I do keep myself in top physical shape just
Mm,
because those are the kind of characters I tend to play. And as an actor, I feel those characters, it's important for me to do so. I also um, have been on two different shows at the moment, having to take my shirt off on TV,
okay. Okay.
um, in the flesh. So I was ready for that side of it. But yeah, I did do um, a lot of my own training in terms of getting ready for the role. You've got to make sure that you're completely free physically
Mm,
in order for the voice to manifest in the way that you want to do it. You want to play with it. You want to be able to have the full range.
yeah.
So for me, breathing, I have a lot of different exercises I do every day, especially when I'm working. In the morning, I do a lot of breath work. I do breath work classes, which is a lot of breathing exercises. There's a lot of, uh, you know, um, a lot of different methods to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of that stuff I learned at drama school and then afterwards as well in different classes. But
Okay.
for me, I do that, whether it's on screen or if it's a voiceover, I've got to warm up the entire body, stretch the entire body,
Yeah.
um, and do vocal warm ups as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And if it's an accent as well, which it usually is, because my accent is kind of messed up
Okay.
naturally, it's an amalgamation. So I'm always kind of doing some accent.
Mm,
And so I'll have to, um, you know, I'll have to drill the accent as well, like the
yeah.
night before and the day of. Yeah.
Oh wow. Do you ever get stuck in character like after filming?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100% I do, and
Yeah.
it catches me unawares all the time. Yeah,
Mm,
especially because I'm American mostly. So I will, yeah, you know, I'll go about my day if I've just got one scene in the morning,
Yeah,
and it's like, um, yeah, it just continues throughout the day. I'll be at the store or whatever,
yeah,
and I'll be talking like this, and I'll catch myself because it becomes subconscious after a while.
yeah.
Years ago, I had an acting teacher who told me I had to be American for 6 months. So I was walking around being American for 6 months, and that really broke was the straw that broke the camel's back with the accent to make it
Mm,
as natural as it could be. And now I find out I was doing it yesterday. I took my car into the shop and I was talking in American because
that's funny.
also when it's loud, people can understand you a
Yeah.
lot better. But it does happen subconsciously now. I think I'm also just an actor, and you know,
Mm.
my body does its own thing.
As long as you
Yeah,
don't talk like Azrak permanently, I'm sure everyone will be all right around you.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know. Well, Azrak has this accent that's more similar to mine, really.
mm,
Yeah.
wow. It's amazing. I mean, how do you feel about the fan base of Doom as well? Like, yeah,
It's
have you had a
incredible.
good
You know,
yeah,
it's only just come out, and I'm feeling a huge surge of yeah. It's
wow.
been really great. It's come out with a punch.
Mm,
So yeah, I'm really excited. You know, people have been amazing. Um, yeah, people want to meet me at Comic Cons and stuff. So it's
wow.
really cool. Yeah,
Do you hope for Azrak to maybe be the Slayer in the future? If that could change?
that would be so sick. That
Yeah,
would be so sick. Oh yeah, I would be totally down for that. Are you
yeah, yeah,
kidding me?
yeah.
Because it would also involve me.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, yeah. I mean, how would you say as well this job sort of has influenced your career? Has it opened up more doors for you, do you think, down the line?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely has. It's been a wonderful opportunity, and I just feel really lucky. Like out of all the things that we are up for, you know, I have been very lucky in the sense that I have have got things that have a big fan base.
Mm,
And this one is probably one of the biggest ones.
well,
So yeah, it's really cool because you know when I was younger, I was this sort of skinny little blonde thing with this really deep voice, and when I was right out of drama school, they didn't really know how to cast me because I was strange
mm,
in that sense. And people always said, you know, you should do voiceover, you should do voiceover. So
yeah.
it's kind of finally come to fruition, and I'm super happy
Well,
about that.
is there anything you'd like to say to the fans then? Yeah, while we're here.
I would just like to say thank you to
Yeah.
the fans, you know, for really diving into this really deep world that Hugo and everyone has created. We really put our heart and soul into it. I put like, apart from blood, I put sweat and tears into
Hmm.
it, and a lot of imaginary blood.
Mm,
Yeah,
amazing. Rick, thank you so much for answering the questions. Appreciate you coming on.
no
Yeah,
worries,
thank you.
Lloyd. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.
Honestly,
Awesome.
super fun.
Cool.